Hi traders and welcome to the Technical Analysis Market Watch on Friday the 10th of October. So not even a government shutdown in the US can stop this market from hitting all-time highs. So we'll jump straight into the charts and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. All right, we're going to start out here with the US dollar CAD today. We can see that we've had a really good consolidation happening here at around that sort of 137 and a half-ish mark. Lots of support there, and you can see that eventually we did break through that point and then came back and tested the highs, as we can see through here. This little pullback here to the high, to the previous high there, is a perfect role reversal zone. Now, look, we could draw lines there. And then, the problem is we obviously get too many lines on the chart and you think, well, you get confused. But all you've got to do is put the crosshairs on to the areas of importance. And you can see there at around that 139, it was a pullback to a stop here and a lot of support right through there. You can go back further again, but in the most recent price action, it did exactly what it needed to do. It broke out of a zone, came back, broke the high, tested it from above, what we want to see, another higher high, higher low process, and then bang, breaks through. Just trying now to break through this very strong support that was at 140. Okay, so it was support at over here. Now is resistance. You can see we've got resistance there. And now we could probably expect to see a little bit of resistance here, but it was very strong support right through there and quite a few, you've got to go too far back actually for me to show you. So, but it's a very important zone, 140 obviously. So let's stick with what we can see right here. No, it's the role reversal zone, very strong market action and momentum pushing it through. What we're looking for early next week and in the end of this session is basically a breakthrough and a test of this high. If we go back and it doesn't matter how far it goes up forward, really, even if it goes to 141. If it pulls back to the 140 from above and finds support there, that is a really good reload zone. That's something that we're always looking for to give us a big bounce off. But this is no surprise, and I know a lot of people got this price action because it was very straightforward and very technical analysis 101. So let's see if it continues to give us what we need, but very strong US dollar CAD and playing the technical game really nicely. All right, move over to the dollar index now. Now, this one's been another really good trade. You can see here the pattern that we set up for it. It's over the last couple of weeks. It's played out beautifully. You can see we've got the higher low sequence. Did it to the T. Pulled back to another role reversal zone here at 97.50 and then off it went. And it's got the break of that very important resistance zone well and truly broken now. And we're pushing hard into that sort of 99.50 area. It looks to me like it's off and running now. It's had the, it's got the very big lightning bolt, a very well signified and momentum pushed lightning bolt. You can see that the swings are very defined and we've got a very solid break. So that's probably going to see quite a bit of pain come on the euro. We'll look at that very quickly, but as you can see, a lot of blue sky ahead of it. I think the 150 marker around this level here is the real tester for it. I think if we can get that point all the way to, if we can get the momentum all the way shifting to the 150, it's going to be a really good opportunity to short the euro to a significant level. So let's jump in very quickly and look at the euro, as this is obviously the inverse. And you can see that we're at the support zone now. Very important that it holds here. Not likely going to happen if the dollar index goes all the way to the 150. That's going to bring the euro somewhere probably in the mid 114s. But again, it is at support, so we have to respect that a little bit. It's broken a very key zone. The moving averages are all about to cross down now. The 20 and the 50 are about to cross. So certainly one to keep an eye on. This is a very important zone. This 115.50 in particular is extraordinarily important. If it breaks through there and starts trading underneath there, a reasonable chance it's going to be in the low to mid 114s very soon. So keep an eye on it. So very good trading. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. The all conquering. We've had a little bit of softness today, giving back a little bit of what it went up yesterday, but effectively it's pushed up to a new all-time high. Well, effectively 3 days in a row now of this week, even though the government has been completely shut down, and even though, we really don't have any clarity as to, what is going on there. The market seems to be shrugging that off like it's nothing. So it is consolidated this week. It's done it on low volume, of course, and very low range. So even though it has, trickled higher every single session, you've got to look at that with obviously the tentativeness that it deserves, because it hasn't really gone in big streaming long range candles. So what happens now? Look, obviously, I wouldn't be looking for long opportunities right now, because we've obviously reached a level where it's starting to feel a little bit of pressure. Until there's clarity in the markets, until the government's reopened and there's a little bit more stability, I would be very nervous about going long. And any shorting opportunities is what I would be taking. So any series of lower highs and lower lows on a smaller time frame is where we really want to be. If we can see any of that happening, that's what we're going to be trying to jump in on. And then we're looking for all of these stopover zones on the way. 6,600. We've got another one here around that sort of 6,500. And another big one here at 6,350. There's all those are open for a decent pullback. That's what we want to really see here. But I don't think that trading smaller amounts of all-time highs in uncertain markets is the best way to trade. So really just wait for the opportunity. It's a bit of a wait and see on this one. Wait for a good opportunity, and then we'll jump in on it when it presents itself. But very, very resilient given the what's in front of it. Let's over to oil now. Like, oil has been another really good technical trade. You can see that we finally broke through that 62.50 zone late last week, and it pushed on down and then came back and tested the 20 moving average. Absolute classic technical analysis. Big reversal. 20 moving average has pulled it up. No real surprises there. And then now it's trying to push off and sell from the 20 moving average. Very, very straightforward in that regard. Technical analysis 101 again. Lightning bolts trying to happen. Evening star, big push down, come and retest the zone. 20 moving average holds it up, and then it starts to sell off. So really what we're looking for here is a continuation down to, in the first instance, the 66 sort of 50 area where it reached previously, then all the way down to the 66 if that momentum and weakness continues. So realistically, if we get a little bit of a move on the momentum on the smaller time frames, and we see the lower low, lower high sequences continue, I think we just push down, potentially take a bit of profit around that sort of 60, 50-ish area, and then maybe leave a little bit more on for 60. Because if it breaks through there, there's not a lot stopping it really to just push on into that really, really heavily defended zone around $60. If, however, it turns around and doesn't break this low, so if it doesn't get to the 60-60, for instance, and it turns around and starts to trade higher lows, don't get excited until it's above that 62.50 again. If it gets itself up there and the daily is closing above 62.50 at that point, then you can look at taking some opportunities. But until then, just be really, really mindful that it's not in the channel. So treat longs very carefully until it is actually in that zone. Once it gets back in that zone again, though, it is open for moves back into the middle of the channel and higher again up to the 65, sort of 80 area. So very, very important zone right through here. And I'm not really biased either way on which direction it goes, because I think there's opportunities in both of them. All right, and we'll go over to Bitcoin, which has been an interesting one over the last little bit. Look, we talked about it when it was actually down in these lows around this area here. We said that if it did get past that previous one, 17,000, it was going to go probably all the way to the all-time highs, and it did that and then a little bit more. It certainly did, and it pushed on very, very heavily, but now it hit an all-time high, but it's come back to a really, really good level at where you would expect to find support. So the previous resistance that was at that 119 sort of, or 120-ish really area is the area that it just touched. So it's broken through there, pulled back, and now that area is hopefully going to act as a roll reversal zone for it. So because we've got resistance previously there, we would expect that would roll reverse, and now we would expect to find support there. The good thing about that is it gives two opportunities to do a trade. The first one, you can trade to the previous high, which is around the sort of 126. If you can get a trade in, so any series of higher highs and higher lows that shows that support's going to hold, you're able to trade up to that 126 zone in the first instance. And then if it does happen to fail and break through that point, then we've got an opportunity down to 116 again, which is the first previous break of that zone. So really good opportunities to try and get into the Bitcoin market. And I think you can play both of them with a relatively good deal of confidence, because there is very clear and defined zones to where to aim for. Okay, so the first aim point is 126, and the second aim point is the 116. So whichever way it goes, I'd be happy to trade, because I think there's enough technical there to actually warrant it. So yeah, pretty good trading on this one. All right, team, thank you very much for joining me this week. I hope you've had a great week's trading. We've seen some pretty good opportunities again. I'm sure that we're going to be in for a fun-filled week next week as the government shutdown plays out in the US, and see if the indices actually finally start to react from it. So I hope you have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all next week.